The leftovers from Madrid that didn't go to Madrid.
Wait, you guys didn't go? No.
Unfortunately.
Should
Times are hard.
Hmm?
Times are hard.
Definitely times are hard. How did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed the win. I enjoyed the process of getting a group of players together to formulate a game plan to attack an opponent. But all that's well and fun, but there's nothing that matches the exuberance of winning or just accomplishing the goal you set out to have. So it was almost better that it was far from being the cleanest game. You need to win games. They're one-score games that go down to the wire because you need to be able to perform down the wire if you're going to succeed. So it was a good experience.
In sports, obviously, we all believe in momentum. But you also need that time to rest.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a bad time to have a bye, especially how you guys have a little momentum going into?
So it's a good question because I've felt different ways in different seasons before for various reasons. This one in particular, the momentum that we have established was building a work week that is full tilt, that the meetings are engaged, that the walkthroughs are very attentive with energy, and the focus is at the right place. Long story short, our momentum that we've built up until this point in the season has been built on our work week. So I feel this is, I'm not as nervous about the momentum altering. I think we've kind of learned the hard way, or we're forced to learn the hard way on, a way to get our team to play the way we feel like we're capable of playing. And the rest is necessary when you really empty the tank. But I think our formula is the guys they didn't blink going overseas. They really found a way to remanufacture that practice energy and that focus and that strain. So I think it's a good time to get rest. That's the next thing that we have to win is do some inward look at our game, see where we can minimize inefficiency, and then people doing the right things with their body and their mind so that we can hit the next stretch running.
Speaking of the body, just wanted to ask, can you share any additional details about the nature of Juju Brents' injury?
We're taking a couple more looks at it, and but it doesn't look optimistic for the season. But before I stamp that, we'll make sure that that's the case.
And then curious about some of the other guys and whether or not they'll be back after the bye week. James Daniels, Austin Jackson, obviously he's been practicing. Waller, Jason Sanders, and Rasul.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a good collection of guys coming back. We do have some time before those next week practices occur. We'll and in that time we'll be settling some windows that could or could not open, but there will be some activity, and so we look forward to that, getting some guys back healthy.
Coach, I think you guys have had the same starting offensive line going back to the Jets game, if I'm not mistaken. Can you describe the value of the continuity on the line and having those guys play this many weeks together?
Well, I think it's been fortuitous for sure. I think there's the football is a game that's a lot simpler. They're human beings that are working in combination and have to work next to each other and pass off stunts, pick up blitzes, and be in 2- and 3-man combinations up front, so that just the verbal consistency of communicating calls. I think one of the reasons we haven't had too many offensive line procedural penalties over the block since the Jets is because of the consistency of the crew. So those things do factor. It's been good that, although it's not the most desirable to have 2 lineup changes early, by week 4, whatever that was, being able to sustain those guys in there has been an overall positive benefit for our offense and our team.
If I could follow up just on that real quick, one of my favorite film guys is Brian Baldinger. He breaks down your guys' run scheme a lot and talks about the variety in the run scheme, right? I'm curious how you arrive at the decision to unfurl so much in the run game in terms of how you guys get to the decision to be so versatile with your run schemes.
Well,
Your game that way throughout the season.
yeah, I think it's, you're constantly in the run game. You're looking at defenses, and then you're also looking inward at what are your strengths at your various positions. And when your various positions change, so do you. We've had, the notable adjustment to have Dan Brunskill play tight end. That leads you to different variables and different variances, and you're predicting. Some of the things you're doing is based upon, all right, well, these guys overplay the tight end on tape, against 2 other teams, and we're at 75% run to the tight end. So you're predicting things. You're trying to offset what they're being told as absolutes or how they're going to play. Just basically trying to put people in conflict, whether it's run-pass conflict or we're going to have to really play lateral to keep up with your gaps because you're running off the ball so fast. And then we tie those techniques to downhill runs that feel the same to the defensive lineman to get lateral displacement. Whole ton of stuff that you're trying to whittle down so that guys can have the illusion of complexity on offense, where we can do. If you really look at it, there was multiple schemes even last night that were in different personnel groups that allow guys to have overlap, and the defense feels more volume, more variety, but to the offense we can execute clean. So there's a whole ton of it, and it's always evolving. That's what makes it fun and cool, and something that you can, if you have the right players to execute, they can have games like it's hard to have 30 rush attempts at 5.5 yards a carry. To do that, you have to keep people on their toes, and guys really have to execute in totality, which I thought they did.
Go ahead.
Despite having to obviously be professional, you guys are still human. How happy are you with the guys, the way they've responded during this 2-game winning streak, blocking out all the outside noise and locking it and getting the job done?
There's a part of it that, I'm just very impressed but not surprised. It matches a belief that, I've had the entire time with these guys, that they are made of the right material that it takes to succeed in this league, and a lot more often than not, you have to succeed on the heels of failure. That's the way that this league is. So I think, it really, the opportunity that is a down moment in your season or a down period, that is a supreme opportunity to show people who you really are. And I think our guys have responded in kind to that challenge of what are you going to do when people say that we're not good enough, or and then you apply that to your work week. So I was very proud of just the type of football we're playing, and I'm not surprised that it's led to a couple wins, because generally in life and in football, if you can persevere through hardship, there's positive things at the end of the rainbow. So it means a lot to me. It doesn't surprise me, but it's cool to have belief fulfilled and verified.
Kind of in that same vein, Chubb has talked a lot about this concept of being delusional. I'm curious, where did that concept come from? Did that come from you, the guys in the locker room, and just how have you seen guys lean into it?
Yeah, it's the collective. I'm not sure who to pinpoint. In my lifetime, it's if I had a dime for every time I was called delusional, so I could have participated. It's right down my alley. I support it just because, I think the biggest thing is that there's 6 days of preparation. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of things you could get involved in. But at the end of the week, every week you have a game to play, and the game, the winner goes to the team that plays the best that day in that stadium in that moment. And I think you have a lot more control over circumstance than you realize when you just win the next thing during the week. And I think that's kind of the rhythm and routine that our team's kind of found, kind of what I was alluding to before, where our work week is fully engaged and invested. And I think there's a lot of cool things going on that I think the team is proud of itself and wants to fight for what we believe in and who we are. So we'll be able to do our detailed work this week, get healthy, and make sure that we keep building, for ourselves. And then that's the main thing, is we got to win this week, and then we'll win the next Monday and next Tuesday, and et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of our speed.
Teron Armstead called Devon Achane the most underrated player in the NFL during some of his media appearances in Spain. I'm curious, do you believe that Achane is severely underrated? Because I'm looking right here, he's ranks number 4 in yards from scrimmage right now, but you don't hear him necessarily, I guess, from the media, national media pundits, talked about in the same vein as a McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, and Bijan.
Yeah, I think that comes when your team's winning. I don't really know if he's underrated or not. I think my feelings are best shown through the amount of touches he gets. There's a lot of belief there, and whether the populace is seeing it yet or not. I think the biggest thing is you have to just go back to work and earn your stripes. I think those things come in his game, where his game's at, as long as he continues to produce and constantly improve his game and exceed his previous self, those things will come. I'm fairly certain of that.
Outside of the rest and relaxation aspect of it, what can you accomplish on the bye week?
I think you can. It allows you to recreate that sustained hunger for the football season. You don't really know what to do with your hands, and on the bye week, you're watching a lot of football, and it's like, and particularly with our team, I think the hunger for the season can be captured because we have just finished off a stretch of football that we feel very good about, and our whole weekly process, and that that's kind of why you get into this in the first place. So I'm expecting guys to take care of each other, protect the team, and develop a even deeper hunger for football, as I know is usually the case when you're sitting there watching other people perform.
Will you get a chance personally to do something special during the bye week? Maybe take the hoodie off and relax a little bit yourself.
Yeah, there'll be some playgrounds that I nailed. My wife and daughter, some swing sets. There'll be some good family time. Because that's a best thing for bye weeks for all players and coaches across the board, is that what's underrated or undermentioned is the sacrifice that families have to ensue for us to do our jobs. It's 7 days a week, basically, with guys that on their player day off are coming in to get body treatment and things of that nature. So, we'll I think it's important, and I try to lead by example. So I will be investing in family time so that we can have I can have an excited daughter at games for the rest of the year.
I wanted to ask about the interior rookies on the defense. Just how have you seen them grown over the past couple weeks? I remember just from the game, KG had a great swim move to get to the inside, make a stop in the backfield, and Zeke Biggers, who's been active more recently, has played well as well. So just how have you seen them grow?
I would say that the rookie D-line class had a Biggers game this week, huh? Yeah, no, it was cool to, I think the team has really been depending on that group. We knew what we signed up for, and the residual belief is because the individuals have given us that. I think it's been really cool to watch both 94 and 90 really grow, and then to have Zeke come out and get some playing time, the game previous, and then really get some meaningful snaps this week. It was a big deal. It's something that we've been counting on all season that the football team has. I think the overall the you can just look as far as some of the production that T-Dot and in particular Jordan Brooks had last game. You have 20 tackles. That's a result of a lot of things him, but also a lot of things from his teammates, particularly those rookie defensive linemen. So that we've been counting on that growth, and we're experiencing some of the fruits of that in these past 2 wins.
And a quick follow-up on another set of rookies, this time in the secondary. Jason Marshall Jr. has kind of had an interesting start to his career, just from obviously coming in as an outside guy, then having to play inside out of need, and then back outside of in recent weeks. Just how have you seen him? How, I guess, were his snaps against the Commanders, but then also Dante Trader? How have you seen him grow more into that safety role?
So in particular, I think you just have to look as far as the play after Juju got hurt this past game. In a different personnel package that he'd repped as the second guy, he came out in his first play, made a impactful solo tackle on a crack replace run. So the moment wasn't too big for him. He knew exactly what to do. I think the changing of positions and then the subsequent injury. This is adversity that has not hurt him; it's only helped him. So I see a developing player that his best football is in front of him as well. And then Trader just bumped into him upstairs in the coaching in a coach's office, in Ryan Slowick's coaching office. He's a pro that's well beyond his years in terms of wisdom, that is super competitive and has learned how to take the or let the game come to him. So his development is he's less vulnerable to making a mistake out of aggressiveness. He's a very aggressive player by nature. He was aggressive enough to play collegiate lacrosse, which is insane. And his game is developing, so I'm very happy where he's at.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
That was great.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys' attendance.